dark places, real expeditions, and moments researchers were never meant to record. Out in the wild, cameras don't lie, but they don't explain either. These clips come from scientists, field teams, and remote camera traps. What they captured still has no clear explanation. Strange movements, unidentified shapes, animals that don't behave like anything we know. In this video, every case is real footage, nothing staged, nothing recreated. The countdown begins with the least unsettling and moves step by step toward the most disturbing discovery. Number 15. At first glance, this looks harmless, just another automated camera placed deep in the wild. The footage comes from long-term camera trap projects used by researchers to study elusive animals. These devices activate only when something moves in front of them. No human present, no staging. What makes these clips unsettling isn't what they show at first, but what appears only for seconds. Shapes partially blocked by vegetation. Eyes reflecting light at the wrong angle. Animals stopping suddenly, as if reacting to something off camera. Importantly, there's no claim of the supernatural here. Low frame rates, motion blur, infrared lighting, and compression artifacts can distort size, posture, and movement. A known animal can look unfamiliar when captured from the wrong angle. Still, even researchers admit that some frames are difficult to classify with certainty. Nothing in these clips is confirmed as unknown, but not everything is immediately identifiable either, and this is only the beginning. What comes next is clearer, closer, and far harder to dismiss. Number 14. This clip wasn't captured by chance. It comes from a government-led ocean exploration mission. A research vessel mapping the sea floor, cameras running continuously. As the ROV moves forward, something enters the frame, thin, translucent, moving in a way that feels almost mechanical. At first, it looks wrong, too fragile, too slow, almost like it doesn't belong in open water. But skepticism is essential here. In the deep sea, animals often evolve extreme forms, low gravity-like conditions, no reference points for scale. A small organism close to the lens can appear massive. Researchers explain that many deep-sea species remain undocumented, not because they are impossible, but because we rarely reach these depths. Nothing in this video proves the existence of an unknown creature, but it does reveal how little of the ocean we truly understand, and the next case doesn't come from the sea, it comes from dry land, where the cameras were meant to watch animals, not whatever stepped into the frame next. Number 13. This footage comes from a conservation project, not a mystery channel. Cameras were installed high in the forest canopy, left running for months. No crew nearby, no interaction. At first, the movement seems ordinary. Branches sway, shadows shift, then something steps into view. Its posture looks unfamiliar. Its face appears almost human for a brief moment, and then it's gone. Before jumping to conclusions, researchers urge caution. Camera traps in dense forests often distort depth and scale. Infrared sensors flatten facial features. Motion blur can exaggerate expressions and proportions. In this case, scientists later identified the animal as an extremely rare primate, filmed alive in the wild for the first time. What felt unsettling wasn't something unknown. It was something we had almost never seen before. Nothing supernatural was found, but the reaction is understandable. When an animal disappears from human knowledge long enough, seeing it again can feel deeply wrong. And the next case pushes that feeling even further, because this time, the researchers weren't watching from above. They were surrounded. Number 12. This footage wasn't meant to be dramatic. It comes from biodiversity research deep inside a protected rainforest. Cameras were placed along animal trails and left unattended for weeks. Most recordings are predictable. Jaguars, tapirs, birds passing at night. Then one clip stands out. Something moves low to the ground. Its outline is unclear. The body seems distorted by shadows and infrared light. At first it looks unfamiliar, almost wrong, but researchers remain cautious. Dense vegetation can warp silhouettes. Infrared cameras remove color and depth cues. A known animal, filmed mid-stride, can appear completely different. In this case, scientists believe the footage shows a rarely documented species behaving in an unusual way, possibly reacting to the camera's sound or scent. The material comes from real camera trap research in Ecuador's Yasuni region, one of the most biologically complex places on Earth. No unknown creature was confirmed, but even experts admit this. In ecosystems this dense, not everything captured on camera is immediately understood, and the next case raises the tension even more, because this time, the footage wasn't buried in the jungle. It was recorded where scientists believed nothing large could still exist. Number 11. This footage comes from a large camera trap archive used by wildlife researchers and conservation teams. Hundreds of cameras, thousands of hours of recordings, most of it routine. But a few clips stand out. In these moments, animals appear briefly, then freeze, or retreat suddenly, as if something else is present. Some figures seem oddly proportioned. Limbs look longer than expected. Movements appear jerky or unnatural. Here, skepticism is critical. Camera traps record at low frame rates. Infrared lighting flattens depth, and partial triggers often capture animals mid-motion, distorting posture and anatomy. Researchers reviewing these clips emphasize that none of them confirm unknown species. What they show instead is how easily normal wildlife can look disturbing when stripped of context. These recordings are part of real conservation footage collected over years, not curated for fear, only observation. Nothing here proves something unclassified is roaming the forest, but it does highlight a pattern. When cameras observe without humans present, animals don't always behave the way we expect, and the next case becomes even harder to dismiss, because this time, the footage focuses on a single species. One scientist believed they already understood. Number 10. This isn't a mystery creature clip from the internet. It's a camera trap recording tied to real wildlife documentation. For a few seconds, the animal that appears looks unreal, dark, striped, almost like it doesn't belong in the forest at all. And that reaction is understandable, because the species is famously elusive, rarely seen by people, and often confused in low-quality footage. But skepticism matters. Camera traps can distort proportions with wide-angle lenses. Night sensors flatten depth. And when an animal walks partly behind brush, the brain fills in the gaps, sometimes incorrectly. In this case, the unexplainable feeling doesn't come from something unknown. It comes from something real that most people never get to see. And the next case escalates, because the animal in the footage isn't just rare. It's something that was missing from entire regions for years. Number 9. This clip comes from a real wildlife recovery effort, not a creature caught on camera channel. Researchers set camera traps to confirm whether a species had truly returned. And then it happens. A small predator moves through the frame, fast, low, alert. For a second, it looks almost too sleek, too ghost-like, as if it isn't supposed to be there. But that eerie feeling has a simple explanation. Camera traps often film at night with infrared. That flattens depth, wipes out natural color, and makes fur look darker or oddly smooth. Add motion blur, and even a familiar animal can look wrong. In this case, the footage is part of a documented conservation project. The goal isn't fear, it's evidence, proof of presence, behavior, and distribution. You can review the project and related camera trap work here. Nothing here confirms an unknown creature, but it does confirm something unsettling in its own way. Nature can erase an animal for decades, and then bring it back like it never left. And the next case goes deeper, because this time, what appears on camera isn't just rare. It's shaped by an environment that seems built to hide things. Number 8. This next set of clips comes from a real camera trap collection in a tropical environment. Cameras placed on trails, triggered by motion, left alone for long stretches. Most of the time, you see what you'd expect. Wildlife moving through, cautious and quick. But in a few moments, something feels off. Animals hesitate, they pivot suddenly. Some look straight into the lens like they sensed it. Here's the skeptical reality. Camera traps don't capture context. A predator could be just out of frame. A scent could be in the air. Even the camera's infrared glow or faint click can change behavior. And visually, these clips can mislead. Wide angles stretch bodies. Night mode flattens distance. A close animal can look huge, and a normal stride can look unnatural. Still, these aren't staged scares. They're raw, observational records. Nothing here proves a mystery creature, but it proves something else. When humans aren't watching, the wild moves differently. And the next case gets even more unsettling, because it comes from a place where the ocean floor turns into a graveyard of shadows. Number 7. This clip comes from a real deep ocean dive. A remote vehicle drifting over the seafloor in total darkness. At first, it looks like nothing, just sediment, rock, silence. Then the camera finds it, a strange shape anchored to the bottom like a living signal flare. It sways gently, almost like a creature trying to imitate a plant. It feels unexplainable because our brains want it to be an animal, or a trap, or something that shouldn't be there. But skepticism matters. In the deep sea, many organisms look alien because evolution has no normal rules down there. And video can make it worse. ROV lights flatten texture, and the seafloor offers almost no scale references. This is documented expedition media from NOAA's archive, not a horror upload. Nothing here confirms an unknown species, but it confirms something unsettling. Even when we're looking directly at the ocean floor, we still don't fully understand what we're seeing. And the next case gets clearer, because it isn't just one strange shape. It's something moving through the water like it knows the camera is there. Number 6. This footage was captured during a NOAA-led deep sea exploration. A remotely operated vehicle moves slowly through open water. Lights on, cameras steady. Then something drifts into view, soft-bodied, pale. Its movement looks deliberate, but unfamiliar. For many viewers, this is where explanations start to feel thin. The creature doesn't swim like fish we recognize. It doesn't react the way surface animals do. But skepticism is essential. In the deep ocean, buoyancy replaces muscle. Fins become useless. Many species hover instead of swimming. Scientists explain that animals like squid and octopods often appear ghost-like on camera because of translucent tissue, low contrast, and harsh artificial lighting. What feels unnatural is often just life adapted to crushing pressure and total darkness. You can review the documented material and similar clips here. Nothing here confirms an unknown organism, but it does confirm something else. The deeper we go, the less familiar life becomes. And the next case is even harder to ignore, because this time, researchers weren't studying movement. They were documenting something believed to be nearly impossible to film alive. Number 5. This footage comes from a modern ocean expedition with a very specific goal: to document life that scientists almost never see alive. As the camera descends, something massive drifts into frame. Slow, heavy, barely reacting to the lights. At first, it feels unreal, as if the scale is wrong or the movement is staged, but this isn't a rumor or a leak. It's verified expedition footage. Still, skepticism is important. In deep water, there are no reference points. A juvenile animal close to the lens can appear enormous, and low light exaggerates every shadow and contour. Researchers involved in the expedition later clarified what was captured: a juvenile colossal squid, filmed alive in its natural environment, something long considered nearly impossible. Nothing supernatural was discovered, but the reaction is understandable. When a creature exists mostly in fragments and legends, seeing it alive, even briefly, can feel deeply unsettling. And the next case raises the tension further, because this time, the footage doesn't come from a vehicle or a lab. It comes from a place where scientists believed nothing like this should still be present at all. Number 4. This footage comes from a large-scale scientific expedition in the Pacific. Not a single dive, but weeks of coordinated research in an area barely studied before. What researchers documented wasn't one strange animal, but dozens of organisms that looked unfamiliar, extreme, or unsettling. Spined bodies, translucent tissue, predatory features where none were expected. For many viewers, this feels like something that shouldn't still exist. Creatures that look too ancient, too specialized, too far removed from what we think of as normal life. But skepticism grounds this case. Scientists are clear. These aren't monsters. They're the result of isolation, pressure, and evolution in environments humans almost never reach. What feels impossible is often just undocumented. This expedition revealed over 100 potentially new species. Not because they suddenly appeared, but because no one had looked closely enough before. You can review the documented expedition and its findings here. Nothing here breaks biology, but it does challenge our assumptions. And the next case pushes even further, because this time, the footage isn't about discovery. It's about a single moment caught on camera that researchers still can't fully explain. Number 3. A scientist in a white coat holds a strange-looking animal with an elongated snout, right there on the roadside, next to a vehicle. The caption claims something extreme, that researchers cloned this specimen using dinosaur DNA. But stay skeptical, because the clip itself doesn't provide any evidence for that. What we can actually verify on screen is limited. An animal being restrained for handling, a masked worker, and what looks like a controlled pickup or transport. No lab context, no documents, no identification tag shown clearly. And scientifically, dinosaur DNA cloning is an extraordinary claim that would require extraordinary proof, peer-reviewed research, genetic sequencing, and official institutional confirmation, none of which appears in the video. It's far more likely this is a real modern species being handled for rescue, relocation, veterinary care, or research, while the narration exaggerates the backstory for shock value. So, the mystery here isn't dinosaur DNA. It's simpler and still unsettling. Who is this animal, and why did it need to be carried out like that? Number 2. This clip claims to show scientists capturing an immense creature beneath the ocean, extending a massive black appendage, described as a fin, or something else entirely. At first glance, the scale feels overwhelming. A dark shape rises, a long structure lifts from the water. For a moment, it looks unfamiliar, almost unnatural. But skepticism is crucial here. What the footage actually shows aligns with known marine behavior. Large whales, especially humpbacks, often breach vertically, lifting their bodies and pectoral fins out of the water. When filmed close up, with no reference points, a fin can look far larger and stranger than it truly is. Lighting and water reflection also matter. Wet skin absorbs light, making anatomy appear solid black and featureless. Angles can hide recognizable features like eyes, mouths, or barnacle patterns, until the frame changes. There's no verified scientific report describing this as an unknown organism. No sonar data, no measurements, just a short clip removed from its research context. So, this isn't proof of something unknown beneath the sea, but it is a reminder of something equally unsettling. Even the animals we do know can look completely alien when the ocean decides what we're allowed to see. Number 1. This is the final clip, and it's important to stay grounded in what the footage actually shows. What appears on screen is a large humanoid figure seated on a fallen log. Its body is covered in dark hair. Its posture is upright, arms resting, head slightly tilted forward. That's all we can state with certainty. The figure does not move in the visible frames. There is no interaction with the environment, no clear breathing motion, no verified scale reference beyond nearby logs and rocks. From a documentary perspective, there are several possibilities that cannot be ruled out. A life-sized model, a costume or animatronic figure, a stage scene meant for visual impact. There is no accompanying scientific report, no expedition data, no raw, continuous footage showing arrival, movement, or departure. Because of that, nothing in this video confirms a living creature, and certainly nothing confirms an unknown species. What makes this clip disturbing isn't proof, it's ambiguity. The human brain fills in gaps when information is missing, and when a shape looks almost human, the uncertainty lingers far longer than certainty ever could. That's why this case remains unsettling, not because of what it proves, but because of what it never shows.